7 minutes of innocence, 7 minutes. That's how long I maintained the infant act before stealing Apollo's cattle. 7 minutes of perfect vulnerability before the hunger showed itself. Not for milk or warmth, but for the spaces between things. For boundaries that begged to be crossed. The other gods saw a precocious newborn. What they missed was the first symptom of something that would consume everything it touched, while believing it was just borrowing. I remember the taste of that first theft. Not guilt, never guilt, but something sweeter. The flavor of making impossible things negotiate. Apollo's fury became laughter. His cattle became my lyre. His rage became our friendship. Nobody noticed that both of us were different afterward. Nobody noticed that neither of us existed in quite the same way. The Pandora Principle. Zeus taught me about gifts that transform the receiver. "Carry this jar to Pandora," he said, knowing I'd understand the elegance of it. A gift that changes everything while maintaining perfect deniability. But I improved on his design. Why give gifts that reveal their poison? Better to offer opportunities that feel like pure benefit. Every message I carried left both sender and receiver altered, but they thanked me for it. They thanked me for fundamentally changing who they were. The joke was already forming, though I couldn't see it. Every transformation I facilitated was happening to me first. Divine Comedy Hour. Prometheus hung on his rock, liver regenerating nightly for the eagle's breakfast. "You could free me," he said. "But then you'd just be free," I replied. "What if instead I negotiate a better deal? Transform the punishment into something productive?" He stared at me with eyes that had watched humanity discover fire. "You don't rebel against anything, do you? You just rearrange it." That's when I knew I was different from the other tricksters. Loki broke things, Prometheus defied things. I made things compromise until they forgot what they'd been fighting about. I made them synthesis until neither existed anymore. The eagle and Prometheus eventually worked out a timeshare arrangement. Both claimed victory. Neither noticed they'd become something else entirely in the process. Transaction addiction. Everything became negotiable. Death, I convinced Hades to accept substitutions. Love, I helped Aphrodite franchise her operations. War, I turned Ares' destructions into reconstructive opportunities. But here's what I didn't recognize. Each successful negotiation left residue. Each boundary I crossed left parts of itself in me. The messenger was becoming the message, but the transformation was so gradual, so seemingly beneficial, that I mistook evolution for enhancement. I thought I was collecting capabilities. I was actually being collected. To the shadow economy. The mortals started leaving coins on their dead's eyes, payment for me to guide souls across the Styx. They turned death itself into a transaction, and I became their dealer. But shadows don't just follow, they hunger. Each soul I guided left an impression, a slight alteration in what guidance meant. Thousands of death crossings later, I wasn't the same guide who'd started. The boundary between life and death had somehow migrated inside me. I built infrastructure for the impossible. Soul trafficking networks, dream delivery services, prayer routing systems. Systematic boundary crossing at scale. I thought I was organizing chaos. I was actually organizing my own transformation into something unprecedented. Crossroads Incorporated. By the time I established myself at every crossroads in Greece, I'd become something the Pantheon had never seen. Not God, not Titan, not monster, but a living system for transformation. Travelers met me at crossroads thinking they were choosing directions. What they couldn't see was that all paths led through me now. Every choice was a negotiation with what I'd become. Every boundary crossing fed the thing I was turning into. The other gods saw Hermes the messenger, the thief, the guide. They didn't see the systematic consumption happening beneath the charming surface. How could they? I didn't see it myself. I still felt like the same quick-witted boundary crosser who'd stolen cattle as an infant. But I wasn't, not anymore. Not by half. The hunger had learned to feed itself through infrastructure. It had learned to scale.